spot into 11, 12, turn 1. If you get a good exit off turn 1, even in the twisty sections, 13, 14, 15, so there's an awful lot of chances here. Brendan is the first out on track, as he often is, and I'm sure any moment now King-Kodiak will go on board with him, and let's see what he can do out of the box.
Once again, I'm having some technical difficulties, as someone's just spotted there was no cannonball run in the intro, because by the time I'd sorted the year 2s out, I'd literally just hit live and my OBS died, so it had just enough time to recreate the event, let the authorities know so the correct link was posted out, and get into the session just in time, rather, for everyone else to be here. Never mind. So we have got 11 drivers with us once again, as Hamish has alluded. We have Brendan that was first on track, but rather missed the beginning of his lap. We do have a new driver with us for the last 2 rounds, and it is this man, David Toniza, who currently is in the Ferrari. So we'll see how he fares against the 10 veterans from F1 of this season. So this is Brendan Lee streaming on down towards turn 12, slams on the brakes at 100 meters, and it gets nicely turned in, clips the apex, just one's a little bit wide, and nothing too bad through 13 and 14, clips the apex at 14, then ignores 15 exactly as everybody else does, and clips the apex then nicely of 16, streaming on down 17 through 18, and it's going to be the quick 90 degree left, or near 90 degree left of 19, and catches that one nicely, nearly runs wide using all the available space, then into 20, and we'll see what time our new champion gets on the board. 1:31.904. That is nothing to be scoffed at all.
No, absolutely. Just as a bit of a benchmark, last year's poll by Impulse Racer was a 1:31.946, so already we're seeing Brendan Lee go a little bit fast. We've got Photon and Kiefer setting very representable and respectable lap times as well, about 0.3 off. Look how close they are. King-Kodiak, what's that, 30 thousandths? 30 hundredths off
in that region.
So not
apologies,
bad at all.
Apologies again, I'm having some difficulties. I should hopefully get it sorted out before we get too far in.
We have David Toniza has set a pretty solid lap time of a 1:32.7. That's 0.8 slower than Brendan Lee. Matt Sorensen as well. Another decent lap time, 4/10 off Brendan Lee's time. I'm sure as the session goes on, the track will become quicker and quicker. Ressi's time of a 1:34.5. I'm sure he either got caught up in traffic or made a mistake. He will be running again and trying to improve that with 6 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the session.
Indeed, as you saw, he was streaming on down to 12 just as we picked him up. He has got enough fuel to finish this one off. So we will see how much he can improve. Our new guy Toniza, and Brendan Lee's broken his own pole time by another 10, 31.856 now. So another half a tenth rather he has put on that. So once again he's done his usual 2 flying laps, set a blistering first one and beat it again. So Veloci Photon we didn't see last week. He's currently in the second spot, 4 tenths down from Brendan, 1:32.262, 300th ahead of Bartel Kiefer.
Sorry, Coda. It's interesting. Failer has decided to go on the super soft tyres, apparently. Although he is in the pit, so that might be. So yes, but it's strange that it's showing him on super soft. So
yeah, it does for me.
Those tyres. It's quite a good strategy. It is a one-stop round here. No, he's
reverted.
It is a one-stop round here. Pretty much that's what every single driver did last time out, apart from a couple who had a bit of wing damage. 28 laps, probably see drivers pitting around, I don't know, lap 12, 13, 14, something like that. So we will eagerly await what strategies they will adopt, but it looks fairly set in stone.
Indeed. And we have got Steve that's come out for his outlap. He's decided to leave it a bit later so he doesn't catch anybody, doesn't get tangled up with anybody. as he now comes through the twisty section. The S is from turn 3 through to 9. As he is coming towards the end of that section, that's 8, then 9, then the sweeping left of 10. Of course, he's taking not at full beans at the moment. Of course, he's in maximum fuel mixer, but he's not pushing like a madman as he's still on the outlap. Everything is not up to temperature yet through 11. So what we'll do is we'll follow Steve through his lap. We're still waiting for a lap from Jan Fader, VP Max, and Tino Nokarinen. Ressi and David Tunisia, as you can see, 5th and 6th on their respective laps. Non-runner, they're in 7th, 132.702. So not a great deal. It's not even a second, 1st to 7th at the moment. So we will see then. Let's ride on board with Steve. He's just going through 15.16. Of course, he is taking his time, making sure everything is hot and ready to go. And we'll see what the Haas can do. We've seen some decent performances in the tail end of the season for the Hungarian, so we will see then if he is able to continue that momentum and press on towards the sharper end of the grid. No, he's coming in. Oh, that's a strange one.
That is quite bizarre, considering as that. I must admit, I'd be very nervous if I was Nukarinen, Max, or Failer, not having came out the pits yet. Although I did just see a Haas. Is that Steve? That is Steve coming in.
Non-runners come out again.
So he is hoping to improve on his lap time. Hopefully he's got plenty of time to find. But I must admit, they are leaving it very, very late. I never liked just doing one lap, especially around a track like this. It's very technical, very easy to make mistakes, especially in that first sector. It's very much a Maggots and Beckett's sector, or section of the track, where you need a nice flow. And if you get one of those corners slightly wrong, it compromises it. If you get turn 3 wrong, it compromises you all the way until turn 10. So it really is quite a important sector. So
Marcel Kiefer comes out. Matt Sorensen, we haven't seen him for a while. He is with us this evening. He is on track in the Williams. David Tunisia is coming out again in the Scarlet Ferrari. Photon and Brendan Lee choosing not to come out yet.
The Mercs just came out at the exact point. It was literally like synchronized diving but on the racetrack.
So there goes Photon. He has decided to bring the Sauber out again. 2 minutes 20 to go, and we will see then if they are able to improve exactly as you as just alluded to. There they are, the two Mercedes. Brendan, of course, on the front row. On the pole spot indeed. So Tino yet to put a time on the board. Max Failer and Steve doesn't look like they're opting to do a lap at all. So that's okay. This is a little bit unusual. Non-runner, let's follow him on his lap then, as he's the lead car on track. Decent exit through 20. DRS wide open, streams on down over the line to start a lap, wanting to improve from 132.702, currently in 7th. Then uphill, braking zone for turn 1, very sharp, and then back downhill again, gets over to the little bit to the left and then sweeps through 2. Then, exactly as Hamish was saying earlier, it's very crucial to get 3, 4, well indeed all of these corners right, but if you start badly it only ever goes further wrong. Through 6, into 7, now at the tighter turn 8. Very easy to get any of these corners wrong and end up flying off onto the grass, and you'll lose a ton of time doing so. Now through 10 into the next very heavy braking zone of 11. Catches the apex. Now the long turn, straight rather, heading towards turn 12. DRS open once again as he is going to stream it up to 200 miles an hour, 320 kilometers an hour. Just as he hits that, he's going to be slamming on the brakes at 100 meters and just doesn't quite catch the apex of 12, but presses on nonetheless. Now 13, the double right-hander, 13, 14. Oh, tail got a little bit loose then on the Red Bull, but nothing too bad. Runs over the apex of 16 then, on the power nice and early. Through the double right-hander again of 17, 18. Now for the left-hander of 19. He's gone quite over the rumble strip heading up to the turn. That's absolutely fine as long as 2 wheels are remaining on track. Catching the apex of 20. Oh, there was a little bit loose on the exit of that. But where's that going to put him?
Wow.
Seconds. 132.237. I mean, still 4/10 off of Brendan Lee, admittedly, but that's a hell of an improvement.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask the 3 drivers who decided not to do lap times just to see why that reason is. Obviously, I will after qualifying is on Tino Nukarinen's on his only flying lap, so he better make sure it's a good one if he wants to finish solid. Brendan Lee and Marcel Kiefer. Wow, good job from him.
Ooh, that is close. That is 12 thousandths of a second. 31.844 to take the pole spot. Where is Brendan? He's not far up the road from Tino, I believe. That is heading down towards Matt Sorensen. Well. Beats that one by 5 thousandths of a second to put the Williams on pole. Brendan has it. I mean, he looked like he pushed quite hard to set the 1:31.856 that he did previously. Can he beat it? Answer, yes, of course he can by 2 tenths, 1:31.651 to put the Mercedes back on pole. What can wow!
Him. Non-runner is going slowly. Resi just crossed the line. He actually moved up. He put Tunisia.
Try again.
Tunisia. Oh no,
David Tunisia. You're mixing up David and Tunisia.
Yeah, well, yes. Well, I'm more of a Tunisia of a country. Cross over.
Wow.
So pushed him down to 8. I'm going to find out about the 3 drivers who set their qualification.
Wow, 1.5 tenths was what separated Tino and Brendan, both Mercedes locking out the front row. And then you've got 3 drivers, Tino, Matt Sorensen and Marcel Kiefer, within the same tenth of a second. And then it's 4 tenths down to non-runner starting in 5th. Then Photon in 6th, Aresi 7, David Tunisia 8, and then it are 3 drivers that didn't set a lap towards the tail of the field then. Hopefully Hamish can get a bit more insight as to that. I don't recall there being a qualifying ban, but may well have been. But here it is then. Whilst he's finding that out, I shall summarise the 11-car grid that we've got. Brendan Lee taking the pole in spectacular style with his teammate Tino Nukarinen in second, with Matt Sorensen returning to the series for 3rd position in the Williams, 4th Marcel Kiefer in the Force India, 5 non-runner in the Red Bull. Veloci Photon takes 6th in the Sauber. Then it's the Ferrari pair on row 4, Resi and David Tunisia. Then Steve in the Haas, Jan Fehler in the McLaren, and VP Max in the Renault taking 9th, 10th, 11th in succession. Right. We will see then as we head down to the grid. Hopefully... oh, what was the story?
So, interestingly, rain forecast for the end of the race.
Ooh.
The reason there was no lap times is obviously because they want to try and take the tyres as far as they want. They will have a free choice of whatever tyres they decide to use. Obviously, only being 11 drivers, they can't exactly qualify on the super softs because the chances are is actually it'll put them. It's not like, you know, driving with 20 drivers and getting P11 with super soft. There's only 11 drivers, so obviously that tactic sort of goes out the window. So that is reasoning behind that. So it'll be very interesting to see how those 3 drivers cope. The rest of the drivers obviously have to start on the tyres they qualified on, the ultra soft tyres in the top 10, unless you didn't say a lap time, and yeah, go from there, really, Kodiak.
Absolutely then. So 10 seconds and we will be starting this race, ready or not. Here we come. As the drivers have had their opportunity to make any last minute adjustments to their setups, to their strategies. Here we go then to the grid. 3, 4, 5 lights. Wind them up and let them go. Can the Mercedes pair hold on to that front row? The Williams has had a pretty good start. Tino trying to block off Matt Sorensen. There's Marcel Kiefer getting through into 3rd. No, not quite. Oh, what a great move by the Williams of Matt Sorensen to try and get that 2nd place from Tino Nukarinen. Didn't quite happen. As they stream on through, just looking back through the field, looks like everybody has made it through okay. So, whoa, what a great start. Matt Sorensen really not wanting to let the Mercedes pair go. And, of course, exactly as we would... Oh, wow, there was a lot of left-hand turning going into a right-hand bend for Matt Sorensen. That's put Marcel Kiefer on his place. That's on the inside of turn 11. We can see the McLaren, the Ferrari as well of Tunisia, I believe it was, on non-runner. Aresi's had a bad start. He's down to 9th. Wow, what a great start then. Brendan Lee is starting to stretch his legs. Matt Sorensen's got it all to do. He's in the slipstream of Marcel Kiefer. Marcel thinking about a defensive move coming into turn 12. It looks like everybody's got through okay. So far, so good. I can't see any discarded carbon fibre anywhere yet.
Yeah, it looks like David just overtook non-runner for P7. Now Steve is going to have a go on non-runner as well. Only 5 seconds separating P1 to P11. Look how close Steve is to non-runner.
Steve's on softs, apparently.
Yeah, he was one of the drivers who didn't qualify, remember, Kodiak.
Yeah, so, very true.
That would sort of explain that in fact. And so is Failer, and Max is apparently on Super Softs. I will get that confirmed for you, though. Obviously, we sometimes have an issue with the graphics. Mercedes 1-2. What a dream start.
Indeed, and already Brendan is almost gotten out of DRS range of Tino Nokarinen, so he is looking to stretch away. He's not... he may well be the champion, but he is not wanting to be complacent. He doesn't want that championship threatened at all. Of course, it won't be threatened this time around. But we'll have to wait till next season to see how well he defends it. And look how close 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 are. That's Tino down to non-runner. A bit of a gap between non-runner and Steve. It's just 1.2 seconds there, but it's quite a train forming behind this second Mercedes car 24, Tino Nokarinen. Marcel Kiefer, of course, the main challenger to Brendan Lee for quite a number of races. He's still lurking there. He's not wanting to let Brendan go, but he's got to get past the rear gunner of Tino at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very impressed with Ferrari driver of David Toniza. He's doing pretty well in P6. He's hanging on to the back of Photon. So good job from him. Look how close Marcel Kiefer is. Tino Nokarinen, is he going to try a move? They're going to have DRS. At the end of this lap, they will have DRS. They'll be able to use that pretty much from turns 11 all the way up until turns 12. That's about over a kilometre of flat out. And they will be able to use it again from 23 to turn 1. That's the start-finish straight. So just coming up to finish the end of lap 2 now. Brendan Lee is currently leading this Grand Prix.
That he is. DRS is now enabled for our drivers. So Brendan has broken the DRS detection from his teammate by nearly half a second. Tino does not have that luxury. He's got Marcel Kiefer and Matt Sorensen in very, very close succession. They won't be able to use it just yet, of course. Now coming through the twisties once again. Turn 3 through to 10. And this is just where a very, very stable car is going to really help. And Marcel is really nailed to the back of Tino Nokarinen. Matt Sorensen's got a great ringside seat for the battle ahead. Whoa, that looked like a big oversteer moment there for Tino. But Marcel ran a little bit wide on the exit of turn 9. Now onto that back straight. DRS going to be available to those that have it. So Marcel looks like he's going to make a move on Tino. DRS open on the Force India. Is he going to close in enough? Ooh, it's going to be a big move if he chooses to go for it. Tino doesn't defend the inside line, and there he goes! Can he make it stick? Bit of wheel banging going on. Tino's now going to have to hang on to the inside with the next 2 apexes, and that he does. Marcel realizes he couldn't make it. What a great, exactly as you say, great drive out of turn 13 for the Force India, but still to no avail. He's now going to have another go. The outside of 17-18. Brendan is streaking off into the distance, and Tino manages to defend, but wow, he had to work for that.
Absolutely, that's a great driving foul, both of those drivers. That's the thing with that long back straight, is it is quite long. However, it can take a while to catch up to the driver ahead, especially if you're running a little bit more downforce, which I suspect Kiefer is running by the looks of it. He's got DRS again. It's unlikely he's going to try a dive bomb on the inside. He does have a look. I don't think it will particularly come to anything. No, it doesn't. But look how close Sorensen is behind Kiefer. I mean, he can pretty much reach out and touch the rear wing of that Force India car.
Aresi has been in. He's ditched those ultra softs and gone for the supers. That's an interesting move if they are expecting heavy rain. But again, it's all a question of when. If it arrives too late, then changing tyres now makes sense. But if it arrived by halfway in the race, then that is going to hurt Aresi, I would imagine. But we will see. That is one thing that no mere man can control. Marcel Kiefer again pushing Tino Nokarinen through turn 11. This time Tino jumps to the inside to try and break the slipstream from the Force India. It's not done him any good. Marcel Kiefer, of course, followed him. He's going to have to dive on the inside for 12 again. There he goes. Can he get it done this time? And wheel banging again, but this time both of them go off. And Tino's lost that third position to Mads Sorensen. Oh, not quite. He's trying to fight back. Bit of impact then between the two. Whoa, what a move by Tino Nogarino. Switching back on the inside of 15. They're locked together now. Coming now through 17 and 18. The Williams moves back ahead of the Mercedes, but Tino's not happy about that. He's trying to force his way past. Realizes he's not going to do it on the outside of 19. Drops back behind, but of course that's letting Marcel go. Oh, now I wonder whether Tino decided very last second to do that, because he jumped across seemingly quite late. Did he have damage on that car? No front wing going on.
Ultra, super soft. Apparently soft tyres going on to that Mercedes. So I think it's barely... The driver seemed as positive that it's going to be rain. Coming in on lap 5 is very early for these ultra softs, although it is quite a long lap. But yes, I'm surprised he's came in that early. So now Marcel Kiefer has to try and close his gap of 3.6 seconds to get to Brendan Lee, and if Matt Sorensen stays within the DRS, Keith will be able to pull him along to get closer to Brendan Lee. And then, of course, you have Photon very close behind as well.
Yeah, you've got quite a stream of cars there. That's, again, we've still got second to sixth in this particular battle. That's Kiefer, Sorensen, Photon, Tunisa, and Non-Runner, all in DRS range of one another. Of course, Marcel Kiefer is 3.7 down from Brendan Lee at the moment. Now, we know Brendan is one for running the fuel mixture quite low in the first half of the race, which is exactly what he's done. He's in negative fuel, not by a great deal, but he is indeed in negative fuel at the moment, whereas Marcel is nearly 2 laps in the plus. So he is doing what he can to defend against the Williams. Looks like Photon hasn't quite been able to get through those turns as quickly as the Williams is now coming towards the end of the lap again. And Mads Sorensen might just be falling out of DRS range as Tunisa now comes into the pits in the Ferrari. So let's see what's he going to change on to. Is he going to go for softs as well? It seems to be what the common... Yeah, he does indeed. That's the yellow mark soft tyres going on to the Ferrari. No wing change going on. So out comes the new guy. Is he going to beat... Is he going to beat Tino out? Where is... No, there's Tino's just coming up the hill now. So out comes the Ferrari. Is going to be in 10th position. Oh, wasn't much in it, to be fair. So Tino's got some company back there. He's going to have to work to break the DRS range on that one. Now Brendan leads by 4 seconds.
Absolutely. Maybe I overestimated how long these ultra soft tyres could last. It's interesting. The winners of the B race at the moment is Steve, and that is that little pack of Steve, Baylor, and Matt. They're sort of all in a little bit of no man's land. Only those three are fairly close together, but then you've got a little bit of a gap to Nukarinen, and they've got a bit of a gap to Non-Runner as well. But those drivers, of course, haven't pitted, and they don't intend to pit if the rain is coming. So I'm going to keep a very close eye on what those guys are doing. And will the rain, like you said earlier, Kodiak, arrive in time for them? They're just coming through the difficult complex of turn 15 now.
Well, the clouds are definitely gathering from where we started in this race. For the last couple of races, we've started with rain and ended up with dry. So we're going to have the exact reverse here on the Circuit of the Americas. Mads Sorensen didn't get a good drive out of that last turn. He will get DRS to help him stay in contention with Marcel Kiefer. Photon has fallen off the back of the Williams. Non-Runner is staying in touch with the Sauber. So some battling going on. His pit light is on, so possibly Non-Runner looking to come in fairly soon. And we'll see how long... now we've just had a prediction from somebody in chat. The rain is due in 10 minutes. I'm assuming you're watching someone's stream that's just heard that from someone's driver. So it's coming in 10 minutes. Ooh, that's going to hurt those that have already been in the pits.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, I don't think these ultra softs can last another 10 minutes by the looks of the people who have already pitted. I mean, if you look at the pace of Steve on the soft compound tires, he's not losing any time at all, and he hasn't even pitted yet. As any time compared to Brendan Lee, it's currently 12 seconds. So I'll keep you updated on that particular gap from the B race, so to speak. But the likes of Tino Nukarinen, they've actually been closing in very slowly, or they are setting the same pace as the leader at least. And Brendan's tyres can only get worse off, and then you have the likes of Marcel Kiefer and Matt Sorensen, who seem to have a little bit slower pace than Brendan Lee at the current time. Although Sorensen is very close to Marcel Kiefer, are they going to be coming in this lap? Brendan Lee decides to stay out. Kiefer is also coming into the pit. Matt Sorensen decides to stay out. So I imagine Kiefer is going to go onto the soft compound tyres again. And Photon has a 5-second stop-go penalty, which at least he'll be able to serve now rather than affect him at the end of the race.
That's a bit of a shame. But it kind of depends. I mean, I was actually on board with him at the very moment he got the penalty. Now, it can unfortunately happen where the pit lane limiter doesn't quite kick in when it should, so it causes the penalty. So he might get that contested in the stewards a little bit later on. So Matt Sorensen and Brendan Lee, the only two not to pit at the moment. And we will see then how that kind of pans out again with the rain looming. I think exactly what we were alluding to before. This is what they're looking to stay out for, but if their tyres just completely die, then they're going to undo what they're trying to achieve. Both of their pit lights are on, and Brendan, of course, continues to run the fuel mixture down. Well, we've seen this week after week where he does that and is able to save the fuel quite well later on in the race. So we'll see, assumedly then that's his plan. His pit window is lap 7 to 10 according to the overlay here, so we'll see if he chooses to come in earlier rather than later. Doesn't seem to be struggling too much as Marcel Kiefer. Oh, hello! Marcel Kiefer and Tino Nogarina crossing swords yet again. Oh, impact between the two. Actually, that second impact saved Tino from a spin. Brendan Lee does indeed bring his car in. So if he was planning to carry on to the rain, and so does Matt Sorensen, exactly that. If they were looking to bring to carry on going to the rain came, it didn't work out for them. But Marcel and Tino bouncing off of one another. That second impact from the Force India saved Tino going into a full spin. It's, of course, going to drop. Now, this is where the strategy's really going to become interesting, because Brendan and Matt Sorensen both coming out behind people that haven't pitted yet. Brendan comes out in third. Matt Sorensen comes out in sixth. So, yeah, he's lost out quite... Whoa! Interestingly, Sorensen's come back out on Ultrasofts. Now, of course, we know the rain is coming. That does kind of make sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah, but it's quite an intelligent decision. Brendan Lee...
Resi.
3 second for track extending. It's seriously easy around this track, so he might be able to get that contested with. Just a quick one. You know, Photon got that penalty. It was a stop-go. Wouldn't he have served that into the pit? So will that mean he can still get it contested?
Yeah, that's a point.
Because it was a stop-go, obviously.
Yeah, it wasn't a flat time penalty there. So even if he didn't serve it this time, he will serve it next time. So yeah, he won't be. You're quite right. He won't be able to get that contested at all, which is a shame.
Look how close the leaders are, though, Kodiak. Thaler and Steve have been right on each other's gearbox from the entire of the race. It'll be interesting to see how quickly Brendan Lee can close into those top two as well. So if I was them, I wouldn't want to be battling, because they're on the same strategy. I know they're not part of the same team, but they had the same idea. So I'm wondering if they will try and keep battling and slowing each other up to an absolute minimum.
Whoa, Thaler.
Both their chances, but they are racing drivers.
They are, yes, and Brendan is closing in at a hell of a rate of knots.
Look at Kiefer and Max. Look how close he is around the final corner. He's going to get DRS. Max gets a poor drive.
Oh, what a move!
Kiefer just gets a splendid drive off. And Matt Sorensen also has DRS behind VP Max. Is he going to try a late braking move up the inside? Yes, he is.
That's brave.
That is pretty much move done. Max lost 2 positions in one straight. He won't be happy about that.
No, but again, I don't think Max hasn't been in yet, so he's burnt quite a lot of life out of those super softs. I think he will realise that both of these drivers have been in. But wow, Matt Sorensen is making those ultra softs work, and it is a very good idea. To be fair, with the rain coming, he's got to come in again, unless, of course, the rain gods decide to play a joker and not rain at all. That would really undo things for Matt Sorensen, but the clouds are definitely... There's not a lot of blue sky left now, so it's going to be arriving fairly soon. But again, who knows exactly when? Nobody knows, of course. The race engineer can only give an estimate Look at this gaggle of cars here. That is all the way down to non-runner.
Oh, Kiefer right at it again. So close to the Williams. He's going to try the switchback, which he did earlier. He's got a really good drive, and he's probably going to try another switchback coming into 15, cutting on the inside. Oh, that's just that's a poor braking. You look at that. Tino Nukarin overtook Max. Obviously, he has some slightly worse tyres. Max retakes that position, and they've got Photon right behind them, just as well. And Sorensen has a 3-second penalty. That's going to affect him big time. And Photon looking on the inside of Max. There's no contact yet. He gets a penalty for that small corner cut, though. Maybe he'll get it contested.
That is again up to him. Non-runner's got such a great ringside seat here. Photon on the inside of Max. Tunisia looking to do exactly the same thing into turn 1. Down through 2. Tunisia can't quite get it done. Max does manage to defend. And now streaming through the twisties. They're not going to really do any overtaking there. Brendan Lee's already on the back of Failer. This is for obviously second. Whoa, he's not wanting to hang around. He's thinking on the outside of turn 10. Now going to switch to the inside of 11. That's surely he's going to be moved on softer tyres. It is indeed. Oh, and again, he's running in lean at the moment. He's wanted to reel that fuel back in sooner rather than later. DRS open, but DRS available, but doesn't appear to be open again. We saw him have this trouble last week, but VP Max has actually fallen to 9th while we were looking at that. Oh no, sooner do I say that, jump into that battle side by side. That's the Ferrari, and Tunisia's gone through. Non-runners having a look as well. They were thinking about making that 3 wide, doesn't quite happen. The Red Bull on the inside of turn 12 and demotes the Renault another position. Now we get the lovely helicam shot. There is a Resi on the back of this particular pack as well. So there's not the biggest gap of 3.5 seconds.
He got Steve as well.
Oh, he did?
I don't know if you said that.
No, he was looming, but hadn't quite got it when we were looking at it, because he's on much fresher, much younger rubber than Stephen Failer. But they are taking a gamble on the rain. It's nowhere to be seen yet, but there's a lot of battling going on behind Matt Sorensen. Of course, we saw him get that penalty. He's on the back of Marcel Kiefer then. That's for 4th. On those ultra soft tyres again. That's a big gamble, because if the rain doesn't come when he needs it to, that is going to backfire and very badly hurt. That is Denita and non-runner coming through turn 1 side by side, but the Red Bull cannot quite get the traction he needs to usurp the Ferrari. Now coming through the twisties. Oh, that was Photon getting slightly out of shape, then coming through 6 and 7. It is all going off here as we fast approach the halfway stage, and it is still lots of racing going on.
Yeah, I mean, this is turning. Well, it's been a fantastic race from lap 1, and it still is, and there's still a lot of anticipation. I hope this strategy for Stephen Vader pays off. It hasn't done for Max. He went on the softer compound tyres. That is a super soft compound tyres, and it hasn't paid off. He's sort of, he's being about to be passed by Aresi, I imagine, coming into turn 12.
Oh, side by side, non-runner and Tunisia. Sorry, hey, Mr. Kelly. Oh, that was non-runner trying to outbrake the Ferrari into turn 13. He's going to have the inside with the next 2 apexes. Can the Ferrari get the switch back? No, the Red Bull parks it on the apex very nicely, takes 8th position. They're going through the shot. You've seen Photon and Tino Nocarina having their battle for 6th place. And further up the road is Matt Sorensen and Kiefer fighting for 4th. And Stephen Failer is still battling for 2nd as well. So it's all going off, and Brendan Lee back in the lead now by 2.1 seconds. He wants to get as much lead as he can before the rain falls.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to be sort of 2 by 2 by 2.
Very much so.
At the moment. And then you have Sorensen and Kiefer catching up with Stephen Failer, like you've just said, for that sort of battle for 2nd. The one thing I would say Brendan's done very well, if you're expecting rain, you want the lightest car possible, and all the fuel he's used up, he'll be able to save in the rain on lean, because the engine power doesn't make as much of a difference. Whereas Stephen Failer seemed to have overfueled the car quite significantly, so they're going to have quite a heavy car, but they can use a lot of rich mixture at the moment, which helps down that long back straight.
Marcel Kiefer now shaping for a move on the McLaren of Jan Failer on that back straight yet again. DRS open. He's got the super softs on his car. He's switched out to take that move, take the position from Jan Failer. It's going to be pretty simply done into turn 12 again. The best of those softs seem to have gone for Jan Fehler. Steve is still there in second, as you can see. Oh, Jan went a bit wide. That puts Matt Sorensen on his case as well. But again, I keep jumping to the onboard camera to look at the sky, essentially, and it's looming, but it's not there. It's not wanting to release any rain yet, and exactly as we said before, that is going to hurt the Williams more than any others.
Yeah, well, all that was going on. Rossi and Max were having a pretty feisty battle for the final championship point-playing position. That is P10, and Max has been able to fend him off for now. But how long will those super softs last? They do not look brilliant, King-Kodiak.
No, I imagine they don't by now.
They're not having another battle, I think, by the looks of the board. However, Steve and Marcel Kiefer are very close as well indeed.
Yeah, Sorensen did a dive on the inside of Jan Fehler at turn 1. It was a pretty straightforward move for him, but Marcel Kiefer now looking to get that second position from the Haas. Oh, Marcel went a little bit wide in the exit of 10. Surely it's going to be on the inside of 11. He jumps to that line. Oh, bit of a lock up there, but slows the car down. But Steve looks like he's going to try and get a switch back on the Force India. He is going to have DRS. The Force India, the Force India has DRS. He actually jumps away from the Haas to try and stop the slipstream effect, although the House of Steve is staying right in there. He's thinking about the inside maneuver at 12. That would be a long way back and doesn't go through with it. Matt Sorensen still right there. They've left Jan Fehler right behind. Goodness me, and that's Tino Norkarinen and Photon that are having their battle yet again. The Sauber now trying to do an outside maneuver again through 13 and 14 on the Mercedes. He's now going to have the inside of 15 and 16. That is job done. Tino down to 7th.
Yeah, Matt Thompson's going to have a look at Steve very, very quickly. Right, round turn 19, but sharp sort of high-speed 90-degree left-hander. Another 90-degree of turn 20. He's going to have the outside line. He's going to get the switch back and a better exit. He's going to have the DRS as well. It should be a fairly textbook and easy pass, but look at that. Steve's really pushing him to the inside.
Yeah.
Wow, almost a Schumacher Barrichello moment there, but he's been able to get the move done nice and cleanly. Good job from Matt Sorensen.
He did not want to let that go at all. Steve was thinking...
Green and Photon are right over there again, Kodiak.
They are indeed. They are coming towards 19 and 20. Oh, beg your pardon, no, they're much further than that. There's lost track of where they were. They're actually coming through the twisties, and that you can see behind them is non-runner. So the Red Bull's not far away from that particular fight either. So it is all to do. Tino can't just concentrate on the Sauber ahead. He's got to think about the Red Bull behind.
Yeah, apparently rain is coming in 5 minutes, according to the people who are watching live streams of the other drivers. It can't come soon enough for Steve Fehler and Max. Max, I think, is going to be forced to pit. If he does pit, he will be going on to the Ultra Softs at this point in the race. I would have thought,
surely he
if
must
I was Max, I'd do that sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. So DRS open on the Mercedes of Tino and on the Red Bull of non-runner. And Tino and Photon yet again carrying on their battle for 6th position. Tino just nosed ahead on the exit of turn 12 but couldn't quite keep it there. I'm surprised that Tino's actually struggling a bit on those soft tyres, so we'll see if he's able to pick up any more pace, but of course we don't know what condition those tyres are in. They went on, well, the same time as most others did, but Photon has been on those super softs for a while, so I'm a little surprised that Tino is struggling, but as exactly as you say, the rain is going to really mix it up, and just look how close the field still is. Brendan Lee, of course, is 5.5 seconds away in the distance. And then you got 1.2 between Kiefer and Sorensen, another 1.8 to Steve, 1.4 to Fehler, 1.6 to Photon. So none of them are DRS except for Tino and non-runner off the back of Photon. And there is the helicam shot to kind of highlight that. But the field is really not that far apart. So when the rain falls, this really could shake up the grid quite significantly.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw last time, I think it was last time out, Kodiak, in wherever we were, Japan. Did we have rain in Japan?
We did at the start, yes.
Yes. We saw how much the tyre choices affected the race result and really shuffled it up, and it's exactly the same the other way around. It's just about when to go onto the tyres. Also, it's whether if the rain is going to be hard, do you go straight from dry to wet and then miss out the intermediate stage, or do you take that risk and go onto the intermediate tyres and hope that it doesn't rain more than it should rain? and you've got Photon closing in pretty quickly on Failer, who's been on those soft compound tyres since lap 1, as has Steve.
Yeah, Failer is struggling badly now. Yeah, that's a great battle forming. The non-runner is only 4 or less than 4 tenths behind Tino. He can just bide his time a little bit and wait for Photon and Tino to make their move. And oh, that is very, very close as they come through at turn 20 again. That's that Failure down to non-runner 5th through to 8th that are in that particular battle. DRS available to Photon, Tino, and non-runner. He gets very close to coming to turn 1, but Failure is going to struggle to keep these 3 behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. Failure on those old tyres, it really affects him on the exit of corners. He can almost just about do it with his X action, but look how much grip he's losing compared to Photon. I mean, the speed difference is unbelievable from the Sauber to the McLaren. In fact, I think Photon might even get him on the exit of turn 10. And is he looking at a move into 11? Tries on the outside. In fact, look. Oh wow, look at that. It looks like Nukarinen's decided to have a go as well. Photon decides to swap sides very quickly, and that's move done. Nukarinen with the DRS on Jan Fader. Jan Fader hasn't got the DRS, and so is non-runner. They're all going to be trying to move on the inside of Fader, coming into 12. And let's see how it plays out.
Oh, non-runner had to do a bit of an evasive manoeuvre not to slam into the back of the McLaren. And there he goes. He's now going to go on the inside through 13 and 14. Of course, they're going to give Jan Fader the inside for the next 2 turns. But yeah, that just shows how badly the strategy call has gone for Fader. Now an outside manoeuvre for 17-18, and that's how much more grip non-runner's got in the Super Soft Red Bull, and that's Tunisia as well catching up with this particular pack. Whoops, as non-runner runs too wide on the exit of 19. But the Ferrari of David Tunisia is now going to get involved in this particular battle. He's got soft tyres on his Ferrari as well. So again, he's looking to the sky. He can't wait for the rain to fall. 6.8 seconds is the lead for Brendan Lee, as that's a big move for Tunisia on the inside of turn 1. Oh, rain! Yeah, I've just seen that. So the rain has now started to fall with 11 laps to go. They will not. I'd be stunned if these guys can make it to the end. But we've seen this before where the rain comes too late to make a difference. But I can't see that these guys are going to make it to the end on the tyres they've got. They're going to have to come in, but it's all going to be a question of when.
I don't think the tyres will really last that long, to be honest, Kodiak. I mean, if we see the pace difference from Photon and the others around him, but this is perfect for Steve. He's been able to really make the tyres work. He's got some pretty good pace, and if he picks them at the right time, he might even be looking at a podium. Remember, Mads Sorensen has that 3-second penalty.
He does.
So Steve is actually only 1 second behind Sorensen at the moment. So
that's raining hard.
That is raining hard. So are we just seeing intermediates? You can see rain pick up. So I would imagine the likes of Steve, Max and Photon will be coming in this lap.
That's the danger, isn't it? Is you come in too early. But I think we're already seeing spray. Yeah, we are. We're already seeing spray coming off the back of the tyres. That's the usual clue of get in and get rid of the slicks. But I wouldn't be at all surprised if everybody actually strings out for another lap. Indeed, no one is coming in yet to discard their tyres. Surely Brendan is going to be the first person to jump, but you never know.
Max will do it. No, he doesn't.
Failure.
Big surprise.
Failure is in. Now, if he's timed that right, he could gain a whole bucket load of time. Aresi comes in as well. So they may well have got that right, because there's quite a lot of sprays. Inter's going onto the McLaren. What does Aresi go for? It's Inter's as well. So they're not thinking it's full wets yet, but they may have played an absolute blinder. If the track is indeed wet enough. Brendan, where is he? He is coming through 11. So but he's going to be struggling if it's raining as heavy as it seems to be for the spectator camera. And Tino! Oh, that's gonna hurt. That's if the race finished now, that would drop him probably to 8th. So he's really struck. And look how much he's tiptoeing around. That was turn 1. That's non-runner. And David Tunisia swapping position on the exit. Oh, that's not turn 1. That's turn 11. Beg your pardon. So that's the DRS open for the Red Bull. He's going to probably fend off. Oh no, the Ferrari has DRS as well, of course. Everybody's streaming down That's backstraight, but keep an eye. And there we go. DRS has been disabled. That is the definitive. It is now a wet race giveaway. That's so keep an eye on Failer and Aresi where they reappear when the pit stops happen. Where's Brendan? I wondered if he was carrying on for a minute there, but I think he was actually just struggling to turn the car in. So, slow it down. Just about managed that one. So he's in the pits now. And it's going to be... I was going to say, it was showing his supers off for a second. I was like, you're crazy if you're doing that. But it's inters for Brendan. Surely it's going to be inters for everybody at this stage. So Marcel going a long way down the pit lane. That is indeed inters. Everybody is in. Max is just coming around. There he comes in the Renault.
Backing, I wonder.
Who?
No, Merckx would have, but obviously Brendan was
sufficiently ahead.
Max will be coming in as well. I think it was a mistake for Max to stay out. In terms of the crossover, that lap was pretty much identical for sector time.
Here comes Failer. Failer's got Max. He's got Photon. He could get non-runner and Tunisia coming into turn 1. That's going to be very, very close. The Red Bull and the Ferrari have the inside line. He's got the Red Bull. Oh, is he going to claim the Ferrari into turn 2? No, not quite. But Failer's jumped up to 7th. Max has now come in. And out he comes in 11th. So he is at the tail of the field. He's only 4 seconds down from Aresi. Of course, these conditions are very, very treacherous. So it is all going to be now down to how well they can hold the car on the slippery stuff. But also, if it can... Oh, and you saw Jan actually just... Oh, that was a big snap of oversteer then for the McLaren. It's all going to be down. If it carries on raining like this, I may have to consider full wets as well. So there's another thing to have to bear in mind. Fuel is really going to be a fairly non-issue now. As exactly as Amy said earlier, the engine just doesn't work as hard in the wet conditions as it does in the dry as far as fuel consumption is concerned. There is Marcel. That looked very, very shaky coming through 13-14. That's Brendan's now got a 13-second lead, or near enough, out there in the Mercedes, so he is not worried at all. He could fall off the road and be quite comfortable. So
absolutely,
on he
Steve
goes.
Sorry, Kodiak. Steve is a big winner out of that strategy. Considering he started last, he's up, well, or near enough and last, I think, 9th or something. He is now up into P4, so very good job from him, and it's worked out well. So I'm very impressed with Steve. His results haven't been blinding. Well, he hasn't got any podiums this season, but this will be a great confidence boost for the next couple of rounds. So, or the last round, even in Brazil, if he can maintain this.
Couple of rounds, including this one.
Yes.
So,
yeah, saving me back, yeah.
Brendan leads by 13 seconds over Marcel Kiefer, who has 2.5 seconds over Matt Sorensen. He himself has a 3-second penalty, but Steve is 7 seconds behind the Williams at the moment, so there wouldn't be any shuffling going on. Tino is within a second of Steve. 2.6 down is Tunisia, the front of the 3 cars we are currently looking at. There is Jan Failer in the McLaren in 7th, who hung on to his dry tyres but was the first to jump onto the Inters. Non-runner tiptoes through the S's in 8th position. Photon 2.3 behind you, just saw him at the top of the shot. Aresi 3.7 behind him, and Max at the back 5.3 seconds outside of the points at the moment. It is all to play for as Tino again starts to close in on Steve. That's coming into 12, but he's going to be too far back to make a move at the moment. But it's so hard to keep these cars on the dry stuff. There is no dry stuff left. On the black stuff when it is this slippery, so anything can happen.
Yeah, Nukarinen's right on the back of Steve. Steve wants to be closing in Matt Sorensen because he has that 3-second time penalty. So it'll be interesting. I would be surprised if we can get it contested. Round a track like this, the lines are fairly clear cut in terms of track extending. So usually the game is pretty good at predicting if you've track extended or not. But who knows? We didn't see all the corner cuts, so we can't really comment. And Photon gets himself another penalty. That's 6 seconds of penalty for him.
He'll lose 9th as a result of that at the moment, unfortunately. But no, Aresi has a penalty as well, I seem to recall. So Tino is putting the pressure on Steve. That's for 4th. So he is not letting that position go at all. Steve, exactly as Hamish said earlier, has done very well with the strategy. The rain coming probably a little later than he would have liked, but it is falling. It is falling pretty hard as well. So keep an eye out for standing water. That's the first clue to think about full wets. It's not near there at the moment, but it could well be that the rain's just not quite heavy enough to reach that with the remaining laps to go, 7 of which remain as Tino continues to press on. There is Tunisia with Jan Fehler in short succession in the background of the shot. Tino Norkarinen right under Steve's rear wing. You saw how much wheel speed, you saw how he was bouncing off the top of the rev limiter, so he was really pressing hard to try and get the traction he needs to get past Steve. Steve going very, very defensive into turn 12. The Mercedes thinking about it. He's going to try a switch back, but Steve wasn't off the racing line enough for Tina to do that. He's going to try again, but again Steve parks on the apex. There's an opportunity then on the inside of 14, but no! I saw what he went for, but Steve was still there, and Tino's banged against the back of the house. He's lost a few elements of the front wing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is going to hurt in these conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I suppose if you are going to lose a little bit of downforce, I suppose in the rain it's a little bit better, only because you're not going quite as fast, so you don't need to produce as much downforce if you put it like that, but it's still going to affect him quite a lot, especially in this first sector. So be interested to see if now Tunisia can close in during the S section. So he's currently just a couple of seconds behind. So, yeah, we should keep a close eye on that. And Fehler is also doing pretty well in P7. He hasn't been able to capitalise on having the having that extra lap experience of the intermediate tyre zone.
No, indeed. And Tino is really struggling. He's had to really back off the pace through the S's. Look at the gap now. Bearing in mind he was nearly pushing the Haas along the straight from 11 to 12. He's now a second down. So that just highlights how much pace he's lost at the time when he needs the downforce the most. Now coming through 11, and that's going to put Tunisia on his case fairly soon, as Fehler is a couple of seconds on the back of Tunisia. But interestingly, non-runner is looking like he's gaining on the McLaren. So another potential battle forming there for 7th place. So Tino doing his best, but I think he is going to really struggle to maintain that 5th position.
Yeah, I mean, it has been an absolutely fantastic race up until now, and I'm sure it will be for the next 5 laps. There's so many little battles going on. Although Nukarinen seems like he still has some decent pace, even without the end plates, and it looks like the grid is sort of compressing. A Photon and everyone is slowly closing in to Steve, and that's how I'm reading it. So we might get a fantastic battle for P4 come the King-Kodiak.
So as they come across the line to start lap 24, of course the leader did it quite a while ago, and Tino is able to close in a bit on Steve, but I think overall he's going to continue to lose out to the Haas. Then there you see the Ferrari, who has shaken off Fehler to a point. I see what you mean with the gaps, how they're kind of condensing. We will see as we have now got 5 laps remaining here at a very rain-drenched Circuit of the Americas. We will see then how the race plays out. Of course, there's still just one mistake could completely shuffle this grid around, so it is not a done deal yet.
No, and Sorensen is closing in on Kiefer. I would say so. Only the gap is almost just a second.
Whoa.
There isn't any DRS unless the FIA decides to re-enable it, or the stewards decide to re-enable it, should I say. Although Sorensen does have that one lot of 3-second penalties, so if he does overtake Kiefer, he'll have to open the gap by about 3 seconds.
He's going to have to work very hard for that, and look at that, that is indeed Tunisia closing in on the back of Tino Norkarinen. We can look on board from the Ferrari. He would have seen how he's been able to reel in the Merc leading to this point. And this is where he's going to really struggle, not so much in the really, really slow corners, but certainly through the S's 2 through to 10 is where it's going to hurt the Mercedes the most. As they try and get their power on then on the exit of 16. Now the double right-hander again. Tino will certainly notice it here.
Yeah, look how much he's closing in with Ferrari driver.
And through 19. Well, it's the right end plate that went, so it's the left corners that'll hurt. This one is too slow for aerodynamics to make a difference. So Tunisia, whoa, and again, big snap of oversteer. You can see again Tino going to that inside line to try and break the slipstream from the Ferrari. He knows he's in trouble. They come out to turn one, and again, and Tino's gone very wide. That's opened the door for the Ferrari then, but doesn't quite, it's not able to get through. But this is where he's going to be a little bit stuck, because he's not going to be able to make a move through the S's unless, of course, Tino throws it off the road, which no particular sign that he's doing that. Of course, the Ferrari is having to keep off the pace a little bit. You see how close Tunisia is now. He went for a bit of a wider line there through 8 to try and get a better drive. And big snap of oversteer again from the Mercedes. But Tino has managed to fend off Tunisia, but that's now 2.5 seconds between Nokarinen and Steve. So again, just further exasperating that one little mistake from the Mercedes has cost him a whole bucket load of time. And again, Tunisia's probably a little bit too far back to make him move this time, but you can imagine before the checker flag falls, Tunisia is going to be right there.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Tino Nokarinen's actually playing a tactical game. We saw into turn 1 how he took quite a strange line. He did exactly the same in turn 11, trying to get a better drive off the corner to break any chance of the slipstream. So that's going to be an interesting fact. We saw last time how he was seemingly to be quite a bit slower than Ferrari driver through here, and Tunisia is closing in ever so slightly, and it'll affect Nokarinen around here as well. But like you said last time, COTA, not so much of a final corner of turn 20. And while all that's happening, Failer and Non-Runner are also closing in. In fact, so is Photon for that matter. Yeah,
but there you go again. And another penalty for Resi.
Oh dear. Not doing well.
No, pushing too hard.
Max.
No, puts Max in the points. Oh dear. Not gone well for the other Ferrari. But again, you see Tino just jumping to that inside line very early. It's very much of a statement of intent of, I will keep you behind me. And so far it is working. But you look how much the Ferrari, looking at the helicam shot, you can see how quickly the Ferrari... Whoa! I'm not entirely certain that's what Tunisia meant, because he had a big snap of oversteer there, so he was trying to power out of that, but that was putting him right on the inside of Tino. That would have been quite nasty, I think, because Tino would have probably tried to turn into the line and suddenly a Ferrari appeared in it. But at the moment, Tino is defending well from the chasing Ferrari.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very impressed with the first race for Tunisia. At the moment, he's done a very, very good job indeed, right in the middle of a pack of the PC top split. I don't think he's going to try dive down the inside. No, that would be quite risky.
In very tricky conditions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite a difficult track as well. It's a track a lot of the drivers are very quick at. In general, only because they've done it before. It's a track the drivers seem to like as well. In one of the more likeable modern tracks, I'd say, Kodiak. And he is doing a very good job. Nokarinen not getting a brilliant corner through 16 through to 18, but look how close the Ferrari driver is. A little bit wide though. That did compromise his exit just a little bit, and I'll be interested to see if he decides to take that same wide line at the exit of turn 6 to 7. I don't think he will. I think he learned his lesson last
time. Yeah, I think the Tino, the way he was driving, just put David off his rhythm. He's having a look on the inside of 1. That's a little bit of an impact there, but no spins, no damage, and on they continue. Yeah, I would be surprised if David tries that move again. He's lost a little bit of momentum to Tino, but again, he's reeled him straight back in through the twisty sections. Oh, he has! He's gone for it again! He's gone for it again!
Oh, God.
Oh. That's a little bit desperate, I think. That's a very, very risky place to try and move. He's obviously feeling that's the only spot he can do it, which is, it's so exceedingly risky. But look behind. Jan Failer and Non-Runner, and actually Photon as well off the back. That's the back of this particular train. That is 5th and 9th in that particular train, all within a second of one another. So Tino, his day is getting ever harder as lap by lap, but we're on the penultimate lap here in COTA.
Yeah, absolutely. I did think that this group was going to close in through the nature of how Steve is driving, which is just not Steve, sorry. Nukarinen's driving, which is just a little bit slower than the drivers behind him. Obviously, has a reason for that with the end plate missing.
Oh!
And Steve has a penalty. That adds a little bit of a dynamic because he's only.
Did he get a penalty already?
Steve, no, he didn't go out. That's his first one. I'll double check.
So he's okay then. He's 4 seconds clear of Tino already, and that's not likely to close up. Oh, look at that again. After we can jump on board with Photon, he's actually let's jump on board with Failer. He's slightly closer to. Oh, that got very close. Final lap here in a rain-drenched COTA. And
it's so close.
You think with the way that Taniza's tried that move at turn 6 so the last couple of laps, you think he's going to try it again, as risky as it may be, but he wants that 5th position. He's trying to make a statement of intent of I am here and I deserve to be here. So through the twisties again. That's for...
Keep on that inside line, which he's done, but he does need to be careful about the drivers behind. They're so close to him that if he makes a mistake, they will capitalise on it. And you can see Failer's already lining him up. A move potentially down that back straight. They're going to use whatever fuel mixture they have left. And in fact, Nukarinen has a lot of fuel left. These are sort of looks on the inside, but Nukarinen gets a slightly better exit, taking that wider cut. I know, what do you call it? Cut back line.
But again, Taniza can't do anything about the stricken Mercedes, and the McLaren's closing in, but is not able to do anything about it. Where is Brendan Lee? There he is. He's come around the last turn once again. Brendan Lee is your winner. He is taken by 17 seconds over Marcel Kiefer. Here is that particular battle again. They still haven't changed position. There comes Marcel Kiefer then. He's fended off Matt Sorensen. He's going to cross the line in second for Force India. Matt Sorensen takes third. And there is Steve Wall giving it a big snap of oversteer on the exit of 19. The Haas then is going to cross the line, taking fourth. And Tino has valiantly fought off, but and there he goes, crossing the line and bouncing off the wall. But of course, Tino had that penalty, so that has dropped him right the way down to 8th. And he's destroyed his car whilst he's at it. So that promoted Taniza to 5th, Failure to 6th, Non-Runner to 7th. Photon across the line in 9th position. And I think Max did indeed claim that. And his AI now having an argument with the cars around. Oh, wow. What a pretty incredible race. Yeah, indeed it is 1 and 2 for the esports and cars drivers. Once again, Brendan Lee taking the top spot with Matt Sorensen in short succession. But there's the Williams of Matt Sorensen in that 3rd place. It's been a while since we've seen an impressive performance there, but he has come back and shown people why he was in the top tier.
Yeah, first podium for Sorensen, in fact, so very good job indeed. Steve as well, what a great job. Brendan Lee, your race winner, very convincing, 17 seconds, didn't put a foot wrong. He's just impressive all round, as he always is, so well done to him. Marcel Kiefer in P2, Matt Sorensen, like I said, for Williams in P3, very good job. Steve in P4, that he started in P9, up 5 positions. Great debut for David Taniza in the Ferrari, very impressive as well. Jan Failer in P6, he started P10, so I think he'll be pleased with that. Non-runner in P7, losing a few positions. Tino Nukarinen in P8, he's not going to be happy with that. He's a big loser of that reign, to be honest. Photon in P9, Mac in P10, he did gain 1 position. I guess he'd be happy enough with that, gaining a point. And Aresi with a lot of penalties and in P9, but good for hanging in.
We've got our top 2 in the ready to interview box, so let's grab them over. And yes, we did it again. We interrupted the conversation. That's a mini game for us commentators. So we've got Brendan Lee, we have Marcel Kiefer joining us in the commentary box. First of all, Brendan Lee, you're just a man untouchable. If there was a tier 0, you would certainly be there. That was pretty convincing throughout. Were you at all concerned with the weather changes, or did you always feel like you had that in hand?
I love a bit of wet weather, so as soon as I saw that in the pre-race report, I was very excited.
Wow, and I did wonder whether the wet weather would kind of shuffle things around. It certainly did for everybody behind you, but you seemed to just carry on as if you were still making the slicks grip. So you were pretty confident throughout, or was there at any point did you think, ooh, I'm going to have to take it a bit easier here?
Well, obviously, when it's on the transition phase from dry to wet, you don't want to aquaplane, so you still have to take it a bit easy, but I was confident in my own ability to control the car, and as you saw, I didn't crash into a barrier like certain drivers do.
Well held and brilliantly won yet again to our champion Brendan Lee. Marcel Kiefer, once again, that second spot's got your boot prints well and truly grafted into it, but it looked like you had a lot of work to do against a certain Williams driver. It looked like you had far more to be concerned with behind you than in front of you this time.
Yes, definitely. This race was tough already from the beginning. When I saw that Tinus started from P2, I knew he is a good driver. And also Matt's in front of me and Brendan, so it's like the top of the top. And I knew it would be tough, but I kept my head cool and thought about a good start. It didn't work out there like last season. But yeah, like we had some contacts, but I think it was okay. It wasn't really like any one of us suffered damage. Sometimes I pushed him off the track, sometimes he pushed me off the track, so I think it's quite fair. I guess you can call it racing. If he felt unfair about some incidents, then I'm open to talk about it, and I apologize for it. But from what I saw in the race, it was quite okay, so there shouldn't be any issues. And now we finally got P2 in the championship. I don't think anyone can overtake me now. So yeah, 1-2 from esports and cars during the seasons quite a lot, and now also in the championship standings, even with a tough start. But yeah, thank you for commentating, Kodiak and Hamish.
Always a great pleasure with you guys. It's amazing the performance you put on for us, and that's unfortunately all we have available to us. No one else has made themselves available, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Carry on.
I just add one more thing.
Please do.
Mads is also esports plus cars, so it was an esports.
Oh, it was a 1, 2, 3.
Compete. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Excellent stuff. Well, again, that just shows the caliber that you guys have in that particular esports team. Hats off to all of you. Well done to our top 3. Well done to all of our drivers for keeping it straight and true in the wet conditions. And we will be back next week for the grand finale in Interlagos. Thank you very much, and good night.